To start your weaving, you're going to need to make sure you have your loom that has been warped. These white threads that are running vertically on my loom are called the warp. You'll see they're on both sides. We want to make sure that we weave on the side that doesn't have the ends taped down. You'll see on this side there are two tails or ends taped down. We want to weave on the other side that just has complete full vertical lengths of warp. You're going to weave with a needle and thread or yarn. You're going to need weave with yarn. And before you start weaving, you want to make sure that your two tails have been lined up and then are evenly stretched on your needle. So you'll see if I pull tight, it's all lined up evenly. Now to start, it's usually a good idea to start going under. So you're going to alternate under, over as you go across each of these pieces of warp thread. So I'm going to put mine down so I can do that. So I like to pick up the ones I'm going under and leave the ones flat that I'm going over. So I'm just picking up every other one. So I'm going under, leave this one down to go over, pick this one up to go under, leave this one down to go over, and continue all the way across. And then you're going to pull your needle until there's just a little bit of a tail left on the one side you started from. And you can check your work to make sure that it does in fact alternate. So you're checking under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, under, over, all the way across. So now we need to go back, but in order for our weaving to stay in all together so it won't fall apart, we need to switch the pattern. So right now I ended my first row going across as an under. You'll see right there the brown is under the white warp. So now I need to go back as an over and then under. And so again, I'm going to leave the ones flat that I'm going over and pick up the ones that I'm going under. So just over, under, leave this one down, pick this one up, all the way across. And now again, you want to pull your yarn all the way until you just have the yarn wrapping around that warp. Now you don't want to pull it too tight. See how it starts to come in like that? We don't want that to happen. And you also don't want to leave it too loose. You don't want to have a loop of yarn like that. So it's sort of just so. So you just pull, pull, pull gently until you can't pull any longer. And you comb it down. And again, you can check your work by making sure it goes over, under, and it alternates in the pattern. So if we look at it up closely, over, under, over, under, over, under, all the way across. So now we're going to continue going back from this side because our tail ends right here. So we're going to take our needle, look to see, okay, this last one I did wasn't over, so now I need to go under and then over and then under, all the way across. Again, you can pick up the ones you need to go under and just slide over the ones that you're going over. And we don't want to leave that little loop right there, so we just need to pull it ever so slightly so it just wraps around that white warp right there. Now I'm going to check to see before, because I'm getting close to being done with this color. I want to make sure, yep, I could go back one more time. If my needle only made it halfway, then it would be time for me to change colors. So I can do one more time. So it's going, my last row starts as an under. See how it's under the white, the brown is under. So I'm going to go over that warp and then under, and over and under, back and forth, all the way across. And pull gently, because I don't want it to pull too tight. Remember, you don't want to have that side coming in. See how that warp has been brought too close to the one next to it. You want to make sure that they're still running nice and vertical on your cardboard. So now I would check. I don't have enough to make it all the way across, so I'm just going to take my scissors and trim, not too close to the cardboard. I want to leave a little bit of a tail there. I'm going to thread my next color, and I'm going to use white to thread the needle. You have the eye of the needle right there, and you need to take your tail yarn and thread it through. Sometimes it's hard, so you can sort of twist it to make it fit, or you could ask a teacher to help you thread the needle. Try to do it yourself though before you ask. So I'm going to cut. And again, line those two tails up, the two ends of my white, and I'm just going to pull it through my hands until the needle is nice and tight. And so now it's evenly on my needle. So I have two strands. You'll see I have two pieces that I'm weaving with. So this makes your weaving go twice as quick. So now I'm going to look and say, okay, this tail right here, that was and over. It's going over the white warp. So now I'm going to go the opposite, which is under and then over. And just keep going across, lifting up the ones that I'm going under and sliding across the ones that I'm going over. And again, I want to pull, 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 pull until that tail is just a little bit right there. Slide it down, and this time I'll do this up closer so you can see. So it's hard to see because it's white on white, but my white yarn right here is going under the white warp. So since my last row ended as an under, I'm going to go over and then under, and then over and then under, and keep alternating all the way across. And sometimes you may accidentally go under two, so you see how my blue needle is going under those two warps. So I need to pull back and make sure that I'm alternating every other one. So we'll finish. And I don't want to leave that big loopy bit, so I've got to pull, pull, pull. And then not too tight. If I pull too tight, it's going to start to be uneven. I want the sides to be nice and straight. So make sure I don't pull too tight. Comb it down. And then you just keep going and you just keep building up colors.